Are you clear on what you need to do to step up to that executive level position? Today, our top expert, Cindy Campano, is going to share with you some of her thoughts and strategies to help you get clear so that you know what to do to take that next step in your company. Cindy, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you so much for asking me. It's my pleasure.
Cindy, we've been having some really good chats in the background around this idea of potentially imposter syndrome, these things where people are stuck. They know they're capable, they're ready for the next change, but they don't know what's holding them back. They don't know what is limiting their success. What is one of the things that you see that's often holding these senior people back?
I would say that many times it's confidence. It's do they really have the confidence in themselves to be able to move themselves forward in their career? Or they could be feeling, do they have all the skills that are tied to moving them to that next level? And sometimes that's just lack of clarity as to what really is needed for that position. They could have every skill that's needed for it, but still that lack of confidence is holding them back. They don't quite feel they're ready.
Yeah. And there's this desire, right? It's this tug between, am I good enough or am I not good enough to step into this role and building that confidence? One of the things that I loved about what you just said, though, is clarity. Are they clear on what they need to do to move up to that corporate level? And so when you think about that, when you think about people, especially moving into the higher positions, what is some of the advice that you give them to recommend how they can achieve more clarity in the work that they're doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. And of course, everybody's at different levels when I get the opportunity to talk with them, but they really need to step back and reflect and realize that nobody has everything that's needed to move forward into that next level. There is that opportunity to continue to grow and continue to learn when you advance into your next position. But I believe that one of the things that they can do to get there would be to really step back and reflect on the things that they enjoy doing and do those skills and the things that they love to do. Are those attributes that they can see are key to moving forward? And kind of go from there.
I agree with that. Yesterday, I was talking to this young engineer, or actually Friday, I was talking to this young engineer, and she's stepping into her first leadership role. And I said to her, as an engineer, typically there's a technical path or there is a management path. Do you know what it is that you want and love? And she was like, I stepped for a few minutes into a project management position and realized that managing people, time, schedule, all of these things just drains me and leaves me feeling exhausted. But the technical part inspires me and gets me up every morning. So is that what you mean by understanding clarity?
Yes, that's perfect. That is exactly what I mean. And imagine going to work and being in a position that by the end of the day, you're just drained. You're not energized. You're not feeling great about what you've been doing all day long. And so, yeah, seek that clarity. Are you going to be able to fill that bucket of being energized, and it is leading people and being around the team and keeping them energized? Does that energize you, or not so much? You really prefer to work on the technology side or the processes or another area that you still get to troubleshoot and you get to work with people, but not at that same level, not at the level of managing and working through all of the ins and outs that go along with people and leadership.
Yeah. it's interesting because not all jobs need to be in that leadership perspective, in that management perspective. The problem, I think, in a lot of industries is we only see the management path. But for those of you who haven't watched the first interview, we talked about the role of sales, how you can out earn your CEO. So sometimes it's not even being in that position. So as you think of these types of things and you're asking people to reflect, to get clear on what it is that they love, do you have any questions that may trigger them to sit down and write some notes? What would you suggest?
I really do feel like self-reflection is very important, and getting to know, break away from everything they think they should be saying, they should be feeling, break away from that. Or I've been here long enough that I should be at this next level and leading these teams. Break away all of that. Just focus on the things that you enjoy doing. Where do you believe your career in regards to continuous learning? Because I believe that everyone should embrace continuous learning and having that growth mindset. And sit down and really list all of that out and look at past performance assessments, or think about things that people have shared with you and write it down. Don't just think it in your mind, because it starts to get a little twisted and other voices are coming in and justifying things that you don't need to justify. You're only writing things down on paper to think through, and then step back and really reflect what the things that I have down here that are very important to me, are those still things that I'm going to get to do? And I will be very happy at the end of the day. And if I were able to move up, or is there a different path for me?
Yeah. One of the things that you said in there that I think is a really great piece of feedback, and really something that we all can do better at, is ask others for some feedback. And I almost say it's that concept that I've recently heard about the pickle in the jar doesn't know that they're a pickle, right? And so for me, I like this idea of going, tell me what it is that you think I do well. Because I think sometimes we undervalue what we do well, and it's easier for us to see what we're not good at. How does that impact deciding where to go in your career?
Yeah, isn't that true? We always focus on those things that we're not good at, or the one feedback we got that wasn't the best, which is why I reflect on focusing on those good things as well, because those are some great skills that you have. But there's many times, like you shared, sitting down and getting that additional feedback, seeking it out, letting others know that this is your ultimate goal, and what do they see? And many times this can open up blind spots. This can open up areas of opportunity, but it's real important that when they're getting this feedback, and because they're asking for it, that they're quiet. They don't try to defend it or elaborate on it. Just thank the person for providing that feedback to you. And then walk away and think through that. And if it was a blind spot that you never really knew that you had, you'd never heard that before, you may want to seek somebody else out and have another conversation with them and ask them the exact same question. Don't change it. Don't provide feedback that the other person. Just sit there and listen. And I believe listening skills, being present and listening, is critical in every position that you can look forward to. And the current one, probably you're in.
I think that is, oh my gosh, that is so true. Learning how to be a good listener, the higher up the corporate ladder, and ask good questions and just be really open to that listening is critical to the success, is critical to being a great leader. And so even if you can't figure out what other things to work on, that I think we can all do. Like, I know I can do listening better, but listening without responding. It's a
Agree.
big, it's a big skill, a big challenge. So as you start to take a look more at these executives, as you look at people who are really struggling to move up, let's take a moment and just hit on imposter syndrome. Because I know you've said that sometimes shows up. And when you hear imposter syndrome, or when you hear your clients talk from an imposter syndrome, how do you get them to connect with reality?
That's a great question. And sometimes it really does come back down to them. I really believe it comes down to their confidence and their worth. And because if they start to doubt the direction they want to go and the things that they're sharing as to why they don't believe they're quite ready for that, and it doesn't, after they've gone through the exercises and we talk more about the skill sets that are needed or the skill sets they believe they're lacking, I don't know that there's a straight up answer for clarity during one time for us to talk, but really just continuing to plant the seed to let them start to really question. And I also suggest that they talk to their boss.
Mm.
Have a conversation. Let them know what your goals are. Let them know how you're feeling in regards to, are you ready or not ready? And if they come back and say, I don't think you're ready, get some tangible feedback that you can work with and that you partner with them on, or ask if you can work with a coach as well. Because not always are you able to work through things clearly on your own. So working with others, working with your boss, working with a coach, somebody that can help you get that clarity.
Yeah, I as a coach, I got into this because I hired a coach in my career when I was stuck in my position going, what is it? What is it? And just having them mirror back to you some of that feedback, some of those suggestions on what you need to do. But what I really liked you suggesting was go have a conversation with your boss or senior management about what it is. And maybe it's being asked to join a project. Maybe it's just even gaining bigger insight onto where the company is going. Because if you're moving into executive level, you're really, it's not necessarily about your skill anymore. It's about understanding the strategy of the company and what is the problem that you can solve by stepping into it. And the other thing that I think about, because one of the things you said was that we, in imposter syndrome, we don't think we have the skills. I want people to think back to the first day they started their job in their career. I remember coming out of engineering school, going into a plant, and I was like, I knew nothing, but I grew in that career. And every step in your journey is about growth.
That's right. That's right. And I think one of the key things to also remember, I love that, Nancy, because you have to keep growing and you have to have a growth mindset. When you're wanting to move into an executive position or up to the C-suite, you're going to want to have that growth mindset. If you're fixed and your mindset is always fixed, so you're not expanding, you know the way it should be done and there's no other way to do it, and you're not thinking broad enough, you're not removing biases you may have, you're not sitting at the table and really inquiring about maybe another person's idea or opinion so that you can learn from that as well and you continue to grow. So those are all things that are critical as you start to move up. Growth mindset in every way. Don't stop learning.
I love that. And on that note, if you are stuck and unclear of where you want to go in your career or how to make that next leap up the ladder, then I invite you to reach out to Cindy. How can they connect with you, Cindy?
I will have a link where they can schedule a free 30-minute call with me, and we can talk through anything that might be on their mind and maybe some next steps for them.
Awesome. So that link will be below, and I encourage you, if you are in those more senior levels and want to step up into an executive position, then reach out to Cindy and have a chat with her.
Thank
Cheers
you.
and have a great day. Awesome. Thanks, Cindy.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
Nancy.